Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about books that I think that I will give 5 stars. Books that will become new favorites and that I will never stop recommending. That's the hope. It's a lot of expectations to put on a singular book, or many books, I guess. And sometimes, yeah, that might ruin the reading experience if you're expecting too much. So why do I do this? Because it's fun. I've gotten really excited thinking about these books and I wanted to kind of put them in a list and talk about them. So let's do that. I made a couple categories of how to choose these books. So we're going to go through these little prompts that I made, and then I'm going to tell you what books I think I will rate 5 stars based on these prompts. It'll make sense, okay? Just wait. So the first little category that I made is I am hoping that these books will be 5 stars because I've read another book by this author that I gave 5 stars. And we gotta start off strong. My favorite book series ever is Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. And because I love that entire series, I'm expecting A Time of Dread by John Gwynne to be 5 stars. I chose this one specifically because it is set 100 years, I think, after the original Faithful and the Fallen series. So there are some of the same characters, and to be back in that world is just so exciting to me. Like, that series was one of the best reading experiences I've had in my entire life. So again, to be back in that world with John Gwynne and all of these characters and new characters, it just sounds perfect. So I think it's going to be 5 stars. I chose one more book for this category, and it's going to be The Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel, because I read Kaikai by her and I ate it up. I thought that her storytelling was perfect, and the story of The Goddess of the River sounds amazing. It's a powerful reimagining of the story of Ganga, the goddess of the river, and her doomed mortal son. Vaishnavi Patel is single-handedly making me want to read more retellings because I am never excited about them, but there's something about her storytelling that made me eat up Kaikai so much. So I'm actually like really expecting Goddess of the River to be no different. The next category I chose because I did a video where I gave authors a second chance and I read books from authors that I previously did not like books from. I was really surprised with the results of that video. I ended up really loving a lot of those books. So I kind of thought that maybe I can go in that same vein of thinking and choose a book from an author that I think I could love, but I didn't like their other book that I read. And this is really funny. I'm choosing The Perfect Couple by Geneva Rose. I read You Shouldn't Have Come Here by this author for my reading your guys' worst books of 2023, and I didn't like it. I thought it was absolutely absurd. I gave it 2 stars. And so you're probably wondering, like, why the hell would you even put it on this list? And I think that there's hope. I think that there's hope. This book, The Perfect Marriage, is like widely loved. I think that it has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Goodreads. And the thing about You Should Have Never Come Here was that I couldn't put it down. Like, it was just compulsively readable, but I did not like it. So 2 ways of thinking is I think that I could enjoy her writing in a different story because I hated that one, but maybe I could like another one. And if it's as compulsively readable as You Shouldn't Have Come Here, but has a better plot, it could be 5 stars. So I'm putting that on this list. I could go down in flames. We don't know, but we're gonna find out together. The next category is judging a book by its cover. I chose 2 books for this category because I have been in love with the covers ever since I've seen them for the first time. Have I heard great things? No, I don't really think I have. But if I were to choose, I would give these books 5 stars based on the cover. There's just something about The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I am obsessed. Oh, one of my patrons got this book for me. In case you're wondering, I always keep my little gift notes. But there's something about this cover. If I were to choose a rating just based on the covers of the Lycanius trilogy, I think that's how you say it, it would be 5 stars. That's all I have to say. I love it, and I'm gonna put it on this list of I'm gonna rate this 5 stars. The next one, okay? Debatably one of my favorite covers ever. It's just so classic. It's going to be Dragon Mage by M.L. Spencer. I just adore this spine. It's like the same cover, but like miniature. Adorable. And the wing, how it wraps around, like it's so stellar. It's amazing. I don't know anything about it. I just know that someone recommended it to me. I think it was one of my patrons. And one of you guys bought this for me. Vanessa, thank you. Wow, that's exciting. Yeah, this is definitely on this list. I think I could rate this 5 stars just based off the cover alone. Like, I've loved it for so long, and it's just built up this expectation inside me that I think it's gonna be great. Okay, the next category is I'm gonna rate these books 5 stars purely based off just how I feel about it. The general vibes that I get from these books give me 5-star feels. Is that a horrible way to think about books? Maybe, but I think I'm going to give The Husbands by Holly Gramazio 5 stars. I do. I think that. This book plays with the theory that once you have so many options, you're never going to be happy with what you end up with. And I think that that is such just like a powerful concept to play around with. And the fact that this author is doing it in this such like very kind of cutesy, funny way is amazing. And I think I'm going to eat it up. The main character basically comes home to her husband and she's like, wait, I don't know who you are, but there's pictures and everything around the house that shows that, you know, she's married to this man. And he ends up going up to the attic to change out a light bulb. And the person that comes back down is a different man entirely. And their general surroundings like changes so that all the pictures are now with this new guy. And she gets to like choose what husband that she wants to live with forever. And I think that it's amazing. I think it sounds like the perfect story that I would just eat up in a single sitting. I'm really hoping that it is 5 stars. Okay, next for the same category is just based off vibes or my feelings is horror movie by Paul Tremblay. Listen, I loved the Pallbearers Club so much, and I know that very few other people do, but his new book that's coming out is called Horror Movie. And if you didn't know this about me, I don't know why you would know this about me, but Sinister is a classic like horror movie where they find like a box of old VHSs in an attic and it's like this very like horror haunted story thing. That's one of my favorite movies. Like if I were to choose like some of my favorite horror movies, like that would be one of them because I love that concept. I think it's so creepy. I think it's just delectable. I think it's perfect. Now, Horror Movie is giving those same vibes, okay? It is an obsessive, psychologically chilling and suspenseful twist on the cursed film genre that breathlessly builds to an unforgettable, mind-bending conclusion. And I'm so ready to experience this. I honestly think that the way that Paul Tremblay creates his stories and tells them in sometimes such a like slow burn sort of atmospheric way, tied in with this cursed film genre, I think that I could really love it. I think it's gonna be 5 stars. There really are so many books that I could put on the list for this category of books I just feel good about, like I have good feelings for, but I can't really tell if it's going to be like a 4 or 5 star feel, and that's kind of silly of me to try to distinguish it before I've even read it. So I'm going to keep this prompt of books that just like give me good feelings. I'm gonna keep it to those 2 books because I theoretically could go on for quite a while listing books that I think could be 5 stars. So at risk of being wrong, I'm gonna hold off and leave that where it is and go on to the next category and tell you books that I think that I'll rate 5 stars based on what other people have recommended to me. I'm currently collecting data from my patrons because I'm gonna do an exclusive video for them where I do read what books they think that I'll rate 5 stars. And I plan on doing that for this video as well, but I'm gonna do it a couple different times. And I'm excited to see how well everyone knows me and also just learn a little bit more about my specific tastes, which happens with every book I read, you know? Whoever says reading isn't fun is just boring. You know, so aside from that data that I'm collecting from my patrons, which by the way, you can join in on that as well if you want to participate. The link to my Patreon, which is called The Greenhouse, is always down below. We would love to have you join us. But aside from that data, I am kind of just going off of other things that people have told me. So this is a snap decision. I wasn't actually going to put this on the list, but I just realized that my friend Emily specifically told me that she thinks that I would love The Pariah by Anthony Ryan a lot because she said that it gave like John Gwynne vibes and that the story is compared to either Faithful and the Fallen or the Bloodsworn series or something like that. And I think I remember her saying that if she were to recommend me one book, it would probably be this one. Or one of the books that she would recommend to me would be this one, you know? And my boy John Gwynne did blurb this one on the back. So this one really could be 5 stars and it's based off of a rec from one of my friends. So this is going on the list. Next we have Bloom by Delia S. Dawson. If you are in the greenhouse and you were part of the reading sprints recently where this book just took over. Like so many of the little bookworms that are in my community read it, so many, like a few of them, but then it like just took over the chat and we were just all talking about it, recommending it to one another. And one of my patrons, Sarah, specifically said, Sydney, you love weird shit. Like this is really could be a book that you would love. And I'm inclined to believe her. I currently downloaded it on Kindle, so we'll see what happens. But I'm putting this on the, it could be 5 star list based on a rec from a friend. And it's a sweet sapphic romance that takes a deadly dark turn that takes place mostly at a farmer's market, apparently. And it's like a tale of obsession between these 2 women and how one of them like becomes so enamored with her that she wants to be her and have her in equal measure. And it just sounds like delightfully eerie. And I'm gonna put it on this list. Next, I would be wrong if I didn't put this book on here because I know that there would be people in the comments being like, Sydney, what about The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson? So many people have told me that I'll love it. And I want to say that I've been hesitant to read it purely because it wasn't like a completed limited series. But now that the final book in this section of his Stormlight archive is going to be completed, I think this year, right? I have no excuses anymore, and I am like more inclined to pick it up. Like, it's on this month's TBR. It has been for a couple months now, but I do actually plan on reading it. I literally promise you. But I'm gonna put it on this list that I do think it could be 5 stars because no one ever has anything bad to say about this book. I genuinely don't think so. And if there is something negative to say, I feel like it's very like isolated. It's very not the norm. So this is going on the list. I think it could be 5 stars. The last one I'm gonna put on this list is a recommendation from my mom. Hi, Mom. If you missed our last Mother's Day video, I'll link it down below, but we went book shopping. There's a little book haul. We played a bookish game where I showed her book covers and she just had to guess what it was about, and it was a riot. It was super fun. So go check that video out after this one. But she also reviewed the books that she read that I recommended to her last year in 2022's Mother's Day video. She read all of them, and I'm going to take her favorite as a recommendation to me because she just kept saying that you have to read it. So I'm gonna read it. It's gonna be The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This is a historical fiction, so a little bit iffy for me because I don't read historical fiction a whole lot, but I do think that this one could be a winner for me. Based on how she talked about it in that Mother's Day video and the fact that it takes place in Alaska, I think that that's super fun. I am interested, and just like the fervor in which she talked about it and how good it was makes me excited. So I'm going to put this on the list as my final like 5-star potential recommendation from a friend, aka a mother, my mother. Okay, the last part of the video, I need your guys' help because I want to collect data from you guys as well. I want you to please put down in the comments books that you think that I'll rate 5 stars. Not necessarily books that you rated 5 stars so you want me to read it. I want you to think about what you think I like in books. Books that you think that I, again, would love because of other books you've seen me love. I hope that makes sense. If you want to participate, that would be so awesome. I would absolutely love to collect this data from you guys and potentially do a video on it. So again, leave me a comment down below of a book that you think that I would rate 5 stars and tell me why. Tell me why you would think that I would like that book, and maybe we can have some fun. But if you don't know what else to say, just leave me the star emoji down below in the comments. Any of them, all of them. And while you're down there, please do subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.